Forest have been something else this season. So yeah, lots to look forward to when that comes around.
Yeah, but whatever happens, Nottingham Forest, they're having a great season.
Yeah, brilliant season. Whatever happens, yeah, top most likely top four, maybe even top three, the way they're going,
Yeah.
and at least a semi-final of the FA Cup. What a season!
Hello, Jed. How are you?
Hi, Nicos. Yeah, good. Thank you very much. How's it going?
I'm okay.
Yeah,
So we have a lot to talk about since we spoke last time. We had the FA Cup quarterfinal, and
yeah,
now the semi-final. Two interesting matches. Crystal Palace, Aston Villa, and Nottingham Forest, Man City on the 26th and 27th of April. So,
yeah. There's three out of those four teams. As not teams who are used to being in that stage of the competition, are they? So, I think most people are rooting for any of those other three to win it because Man City obviously we know they've been serial winners of that competition and pretty much everything else the last few years. So it is interesting. It would have been more interesting if Man City didn't go through. They didn't, if it was Bournemouth in their place, but still very interesting. And obviously, one of Palace or Villa in the final. Interesting to
yeah,
see. And yeah, and also I think Man City, that's the toughest team they could have played out of the other three. So
you think
yeah,
so?
it could be a chance there. It's neutral obviously because the semi-finals are at Wembley, but Forest will give it a good go, and we'll talk a bit more about Forest a little bit later on. But yeah, tough one for Man City, and that's probably the tie the neutral wanted because it would give Man City a real good go. I know Villa are a good team, but Forest have been something else this season. So yeah, lots to look forward to when that comes around.
Yeah, but whatever happens, Nottingham Forest, they're having a great season.
Yeah, brilliant season. Whatever happens, yeah, most likely top four, maybe even top three, the way they're going,
Yeah.
and at least a semi-final of the FA Cup. What a season!
You know, Espirito Santos, he's an avid fan of the Mourinho style. It looks like it works.
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah, and we know how successful he was in England back in the day, Mourinho.
Yeah.
Especially in the earlier stages of his career.
Did you watch that video with Mourinho in Turkey pinching?
Yeah, I mean, I said about earlier. I said earlier in his career because in recent years he seems to have lost the plot a little bit, and he's upset a lot of people in Turkey. And then yeah, he decided to. I think he pinched the nose or something,
Yeah.
didn't he, or the ear or
Yeah,
something of
yeah,
the
yeah.
the Galatasaray manager, and sparked a riot, a fresh riot. It's all going on with him in Turkey. So yeah,
I,
I
I,
think
don't-
it's I think it's best he stays there for a while. He wants to come back to the Premier League. I mean, if he does, he'll be writing all the headlines again, won't he? In his own way.
well, I don't understand why he decided to go to Turkey after a long, successful career. But anyway, this is Mourinho.
He's a one-man band. He's sort of a circus every town he goes to. So I'd love to see him in Cyprus, but they couldn't afford him. But it would be hilarious to see him here. But that's
maybe,
never going to happen.
maybe for holidays.
Yes, maybe for
Ayia
holidays.
Napa.
Oh no, definitely not. Don't want to see him anywhere near it. But yeah, yeah,
Uh,
that's interesting. We'll see. If he comes back to the Premier League, yeah, that's going to make it super interesting. And he did say he wanted to come back for a lower league team, didn't he? Maybe
yeah,
one lower the table team, one battling relegation. So if that does happen, more fireworks expected, I'm sure.
yeah. Let me
Yeah.
go through the midweek matches. Arsenal, Fulham 2-1. Wolves, West Ham 1-0. Nottingham Forest, Man United 1-0. Bournemouth, Ipswich away win for Ipswich. Surprise.
Yeah, that was a surprise.
Brighton, Aston Villa 0-3. Man City, Leicester 2-0. Newcastle, Bradford 2-1. Southampton, Crystal Palace 1-0 draw. Liverpool, Everton 1-0. And Chelsea, Tottenham 1-0. And with that, uh, okay, the title is decided. is Liverpool's.
Yeah.
12 points in front with 8 matches to go. Arsenal in second, 61 points. Nottingham Forest 57. Chelsea 52. Man City 51. Newcastle 50. And Aston Villa 48. Brighton 47. I think, up to 7th position, Aston Villa, all these teams are in for qualification in Europe and the Champions League places. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Brighton are only 1 point behind Villa as I look at the table now, but I don't know. They seem to have dropped off a little bit, and so I wouldn't class them as Champions League contender. I wouldn't anyway. They might be for Europa or the Conference League, but yeah, down to Villa, I'd say it's anyone's sort of to grab. Forest, I'm just looking at that gap. I mean, that was a huge win against Man United for Forest because it just keeps that gap, doesn't it, above the teams below them? 5 points clear of Chelsea, six clear of Man City, and seven clear of Newcastle. So, and even more when you look at it to Villa, 9 points. So it, they look like certainties for the Champions League, especially with the fifth place most likely to have that spot as well for the Champions League. So you could you could say already that three out of the five spots are secured. Really, I mean, certainly two of them because Arsenal are quite far clear as well. So yeah, it's that scrap, isn't it? So you've got Chelsea, Man City, Newcastle, Villa. So you've got four into two, I'd say, four into two spots for the Champions League. I mean, Chelsea beat Spurs, so they did their job, just keeping the pressure on, and they're the ones in that fourth spot at the moment. Man City are just ahead of Newcastle. Newcastle got that game in hand, of course, so that's the big one for them to try to try and at least get a point to try and catch up those teams above. I mean, a win would be great because it would take us above both Chelsea and Man City, but I don't want to get too greedy. I mean, yeah, we got the League Cup, and we obviously followed it up with that win against Brentford, a huge win, really. To all the emotion, all the exhaustion of it all, and the passion and the trophy parade, and all that. It's a positive thing. It's all positive energy, but it can take a lot of energy out of you, sap you of energy. So to go back to the league and beat Brentford, who are a decent team, aren't they? They give anybody a game. Brentford, they've got some good players. To beat them is a big win, and it sets them back on the right path for the league now, and they can focus back on the league. They've dealt with the first game. There's been no hangover, maybe sort of energy wise from the cup final win. Obviously, they had the breaks in the internationals, but I mean, all the emotion of the celebration. They can just focus on the league and really give it a good go and try and get in that Champions League spot, whether it's fourth or fifth. That'll be an unbelievable season. When at the start of the season, I said top four, and we were thinking, oh, it was optimistic Newcastle top four, but they're really in and amongst it. And it's credit to Eddie Howe, what a job he's done. And with quite a thin squad, his sole players in January, Almiron went, the centre back went as well to Juventus, Kelly. So and they didn't replace them with anybody. And they had injuries, and they've had suspensions on and off. Like Gordon's been suspended the last few games, and they just seem to have dealt with it. He seems to find a way, and fantastic. So long may it continue. There's definitely some winnable home games for Newcastle between now and the end of the season. Obviously, try and pick up as many points as you can away from home, even if it's just scraping a draw or anything. Just try and build a bit of a momentum and keep a run going between now and the end of the season. And they could do it. They could just do it.
So I'm hearing that the statue of Sir David Howe is already underway.
Yeah, it should be Lord Howell. Yeah, Sir Eddie Howe should be. I mean, what a hero! They're going to have to. They were joking with Alan Shearer on his podcast, I think, about maybe moving Shearer somewhere else and putting Eddie Howe in his spot, right in front of the stadium. Yeah, I mean, yeah, heroic,
Yeah,
fantastic. I mean, he's obviously whatever happens now, he's a legend, isn't he? He's a legend at Newcastle for what he's achieved. That first
yeah,
trophy
definitely,
domestically in 20 years,
definitely.
so fantastic.
And it's very important for Newcastle to play in the Champions League. Uh, you know, where you have the revenue of the Champions League, you'll be able to strengthen the squad further,
Yeah,
especially,
finally.
yeah, especially maybe you'll manage to keep Isaac, but if he
Yeah,
goes, then you would need additional money to bring someone of the same quality up front.
yeah,
Because
because
he's been instrumental this year, you
yeah,
have to admit.
he has. No, he has. He's been incredible, and it's his all-round game. But he links the play. You see him tracking back along the wing and stuff to get the ball back. But ultimately, yeah, in front of goal, he's clinical. And
Yeah,
he's had quite a few goals ruled out for close offsides and things like that. And he sticks it away. He's the man. He's the difference. He's what Arsenal needed this season. He's what any top team needs. You know, to to basically give him the ball and he'll do something with it. He'll put it in the back of the net. It will link play. Like I said.
yeah.
So I really hope we can keep hold of him. But if not, it's going to be a big bid. It's going to take a lot of money to prize him away from Newcastle. So I heard about Liverpool or maybe Arsenal sniffing around him. I mean, it's going to have to be big money, isn't it? It's going to have to be north of 100 million
You think
to get
so?
him. So, well, yeah, because he's one
Who's
of the
going to
best
pay that
strikers, isn't he?
money?
Well, yeah, well, exactly. So hopefully nobody will, but they surely got to set that because they paid nearly 70 million for him anyway when they signed him. I mean, you got to try and get some return on that, haven't you? At least a bit of you know, a little bit more than what you paid for it, a bit of a
Yeah,
profit on it.
yeah.
So I would be demanding that, but I don't know what the clause, if there's any clauses, or if the player wants to leave as well, that obviously makes things difficult, and the price might be cheaper. But I'd say 100 million plus for somebody of that caliber who's done it for the last 2 seasons in the top flight. So
But a big club like Newcastle, maybe this kind of players, they need to keep this kind of players to keep up,
yeah,
keep the momentum. So they
yeah, they
need to
do.
convince these type of players to stay by showing that we will be strengthening the squad, and the target is to go for it for the Premier
Yeah,
League at
it's going
one
to be
stage.
difficult to persuade him. If it's not the Champions League, it's going to be difficult to persuade him,
Yeah.
isn't it? And the other top
Mhm.
players. So
Mhm.
that's why it's so important. That's why they got to give it a really good go to get that Champions League.
Yeah. In the relegation zone, in my opinion, it's been decided is Ipswich, Leicester, and Southampton.
Yeah, it's looking pretty likely. I mean, Southampton, they were just a few minutes away, weren't they, from beating the record that nobody wants, that Derby 11 points that Derby had a few years back. But they conceded, and now they're on 10 points. They're 1 point closer to that 11 points. But yeah, so they're definitely down. We know that they've only won 2 games all season. I see they lost 24 out of 30. I mean, that's pretty awful, isn't it? And Leicester, yeah, I mean they're 7 points ahead of Southampton, but they're still doomed. And then, well, one thing, Ipswich, you never know, do you? You never know. I mean, they've got a much worse goal difference than Wolves, but they're nine. So let's call it 10 points, but they're 9 points behind in terms of points from Wolves, and there's 8 games, so they're 9 points with 24 points left to play. I mean, it's not like it's all the odds are against them. It's obviously hard, and Wolves have to pretty much lose every game, and Ipswich have to pick up, a few draws and win all their home games. But you never know. It's never over until it's over, and those 9 points can be clawed away, over the next few weeks. But I don't know. I'm just trying to be optimistic for Ipswich, but I think yeah, most likely they're down. But that
Yeah,
win was a surprise, wasn't it?
it, wa-
That Ipswich win
it
in the
was.
midweek.
It was. Okay, let's go through this weekend's matches. Everton, Arsenal, Crystal Palace, Brighton, Ipswich, Wolves, West Ham, Bournemouth, Aston Villa, Nottingham Forest, and Sunday we have Bradford, Chelsea, Fulham, Liverpool, Tottenham, Southampton, Manchester Derby, Man United, Man City.
That's not a bad one.
Yeah, and on Monday we have Leicester against Newcastle. So, what do you think about these matches?
Well, I was just talking about Ipswich Wolves. I knew they had to play each other. I couldn't remember when. I didn't know it was this weekend. So that's Ipswich beat Wolves. It's 6 points. That's still a lot, but it's a lot closer, isn't it? So that's for that one. Everton Arsenal. I mean, that's always a good one. Any of these fixtures between now and the end of the season are good because at Everton, because it's the last fixture of that type at Goodison Park, isn't it? So that will be a good one. I'm sure the early kickoff on the Saturday. Palace Brighton, they have a historic rivalry, so that will be a tasty one anyway. That will be like the tackles will surely will be sort of going in hard there, and the fans will be giving each other stick. So that's always a good one. We said Ipswich Wolves, West Ham, Bournemouth. Oh, I mean, Bournemouth have really dropped off. I mean, also they lost that quarter final to Man City in the FA Cup, but in the league they've drawn a few, lost a few. They've not won many of their last 5 or 6 games, so they all need to get back to winning ways. And I don't know. They're going to West Ham. Not always easy, but they're not exactly amazing this season either, are they? West Ham. I mean, Bournemouth have had a fantastic season. I'm sure they don't want to let it slip away now because Europe is in their grasp. Historic European trip for them. So yeah, let's see. Let's see if they can. They can sort of rebound and get the form back.
Yeah.
Villa Forest. That's a really good one, isn't it? Because we know what Forest have been like. Villa have come into form. Those January signings have been fantastic for them, haven't they? They're flying in the FA Cup, and they're obviously still in the Champions League. They've got that game against PSG, team who beat Liverpool. So yeah, that's going to be a tasty one. Really, that's probably the highlight. Apart from the Manchester derby, that's the real highlight. That's a really competitive game between those two. So I couldn't really call it either way. But Villa are at home, so maybe they have that advantage. So let's have a look at the Sunday fixtures. Brentford, Chelsea. Yeah, I mean Brentford looking to respond. Chelsea. I mean, as a Newcastle fan, I'm hoping Brentford turn it on because they can be good at home on their day, can't they? They can be really tricky to play at the G-Tech. So let's hope Brentford give Chelsea a good game there. Fulham, Liverpool. Liverpool are like a machine, even though they've dropped off. They lost the final and they got out of the Champions League. So I'd say, I can't see anything other than the Liverpool win there. Spurs, Southampton. I mean, oh my word, could that be the place where Southampton, beat that derby record? Because at the moment the confidence is so low. You'd have thought amongst all the Spurs players and the manager because he's just getting pelters from the fans, isn't he? Did you see they were chanting at him like at the Chelsea match?
Yeah, I've seen that, but I mean, I don't know. Tottenham this year has been a mess. The whole thing.
The whole thing is even bigger
Yeah.
mess than Man United. And talking of Man United, they got Man
No,
City. Yeah.
no, no, in the sense that they're making profit.
Yeah, I
United,
mean a mess on the pitch, off the pitch. Yeah, Man United are a mess generally. But yeah, I mean they got that lovely stadium, and they're quite that
well,
side of it's fantastic. But
actually, I was watching this review about the financial review, and Spurs on the financial side, they are the most successful club in the Premier League, which is
yeah,
amazing.
man. Yeah, I mean they have a fantastic model. They have a
Yeah,
fantastic model off the pitch, and it's a stadium I really want to go and visit one day because it just looks stunning. It's one of the best in the UK, probably the best, especially
okay.
football stadium. But yeah, and then Man City at home for Man United. What are you thinking? What are you thinking of that one?
A draw. Or maybe we
Yeah,
do you.
hopeful.
Maybe we do you a favor.
Yeah, yeah, I hope so. I mean, yeah, I hope a draw will be good. A draw will be good. I'd take that because, yeah, any points dropped for Man City and there's teams around like Chelsea is great. So, but yeah, Man City have not been very good, and Man United actually have a decent enough record, don't they? I mean, against Man City,
Yeah,
considering how strong they've been over the years, they've not been too bad against Man City. They've had some bad losses, but I mean, some surprise wins, haven't they? Like
yeah,
early on in the season.
yeah,
So.
exactly. Maybe we do you a favor and you lose points against Leicester.
I know. I mean, on the Monday night, I mean, uh, you don't want to get too confident, do you? Because they're the sort of games where you don't want the players to turn up and just expect to roll them over because they're lowly, down the bottom of the table. So I hope they bring their A game and not because that'd be such a wasted opportunity, especially because they get to see all the results before them and see what they're up against. That's the advantage of playing on the Monday. And you can see, you know, how the other teams have done, and then you really know the value of that game. So let's hope a few points are dropped. Hopefully, Man United do Newcastle a favour. Hopefully, Brentford do Newcastle a favour, and then they actually turn up against Leicester and and perform because they should beat them if they turn up and they all the players play their 7 out of 10 even don't even have to be in top
Yeah,
gear. They should
yeah.
win.
It's a local RP, so we'll see what is going to happen. And we come back to go through all these matches. And if there are any news off the pitch, we'll go through
Thank
these as well.
you, Nicos. Same to you.
Okay.